Ladies and gentlemen, live from the #1 fishing port in America, give it up for Paul Santos.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The voice, the legend. Welcome to the show. We highlight the talented, the interesting, and the entertaining. Waiting in the wings. Larry Soares, there he is.
Hey!
The sidekick of the century, the co-host with Kahunas, Mr. Chop Schroeder, right there. All right, hey Chops, you're gonna get caught up on the news here. You're gonna get caught up on the news. All right. Well, you know Donnie Wahlberg, the great actor.
Yes, sir.
You know, he left a tip, a $2,000 tip at a Massachusetts restaurant. Imagine that. Wow, the waitress was so excited. You know, I actually heard that Chops left a $2,000 tip at another establishment, but it was with all ones. I was reading an article right here, hot off the press, reading an article that too much sex as you get older can be bad for you. Now, do you want a copy of this or should I just throw it out? I'm going to fax it to you later.
Yeah.
I'll email it to you.
I'll hold it for you.
No.
Yeah, email.
I don't want you to hold anything. In addition to tinkering around with very amateurish comedy, I'm also practicing singing. I just started taking singing lessons. And, you know, I was around the house the other day, and I was working on Frank Sinatra's My Way, you know. So I was like, and now the end is near. And my wife said, not near enough. Hey, is the audio working?
Oh, man. You're crazy, man.
Straight ahead is going to be our guest. So once again, the house band. It's the NB Rude Boys. All right, he has been a Fun 107 morning host. He's appeared at the Comedy Connection in Providence. Most recently, a contestant at the Mohegan Sun's Last Comic Standing, and was even an American Idol contestant. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Larry Soares. Yeah.
Thank everybody watching right now.
Yeah.
So, welcome everybody from the pandemic COVID times, and here we are right now. I'm in my bunker like everybody else is, or somewhat. I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm dressed tonight, but I run on Dunkin'. And even though we don't live near each other, I think we all go to the same Dunkin' Donuts. You know, the one that always screws up our order. You know, every morning I wake up with hope. I go to the drive-through and they're like, welcome to Dunkin' Donuts. How can we screw up your order today? I mean, I should just listen to the Squawk Box. They just kind of tell me right then and there. I would love to know what coffee tastes like because I've never had it. Because every time I try to put in my order, they just never get it right. Like I take a medium French vanilla regular, and they seem to think I mean. So that was a small strawberry culotta with very little whipped cream. No, that's not even close, you know. So maybe if I order it wrong, maybe I'll get it right. Welcome to Dunkin' Donuts. Can we screw up your order today? Yes. Could I have a large hazelnut iced coffee with 19 Splenda, please? As a medium French vanilla, please pull up to the next window. Oh my God. I get my coffee and I zoom away, and I forget to get a breakfast sandwich, which a person of my size and stature, that's kind of detrimental to the rest of the day because you kind of need something to go with that coffee. And thankfully, I work at a place where people bring in those dozen donuts and they put them in the common area. I'm like, oh yes. Then I open it up, and there they are. Yeah. There's all the donuts in their glory. However, I work with these people also. You know what? I've been so good at my yoga, my spin, my Pilates. I'm going to take this donut and I'm going to cut a quarter out of it. And then this will be my treat for the week. Yay! Hurrah! Yay! That's what they're That's what their mind's telling them. Their body's like, I want a donut. The fat guy behind you doesn't want 3/4 of a donut. He wants an entire donut. Please take an entire donut and do what you want with it and throw the rest of it away. Make me believe you ate a whole donut. They don't know how serious we take that stuff. Now, right before COVID, I think it was around like, January, February of this year, my wife and I were putting our house on the market. And we like to play this game like, oh, how much do you think we'll get for our house? I think we'll get 250,000. That's what she said. I think we'll get 300,000. Larry, if we get an offer for 300,000, how can I put this cleanly? I will take care of you every day for the rest of the month. So those of you that are watching, if you could go to ziprealty.com for me and put in an offer, that would just help me out tremendously. Tremendously. And our son, he's 8 now, and get a little sick. Wasn't COVID, thankfully, but kids, they're like walking petri dishes. They like getting sick and cough and sneeze and everything like that. So she grabbed children's NyQuil and gave him the little cup, gave it to him, and he just smiled and just poured it all over the living room floor. That was great. That was a fun thing to clean up. But then she poured him another one. She goes, "Go ahead, honey. Come on. Just do it like a shot." A shot? He's 8 years old. He couldn't possibly know what you're talking about. But, granted, we're alcoholics. We're Portuguese. And growing up, my father gave me a shot when I was 10. So, I didn't think anything of it. But what the weird thing was, without even missing a beat, he looked at her and said, "Mommy, can I have a lemon wedge and some sugar?" Proud. Just a proud father. And he likes to ask a lot of questions like, "Daddy, can we go to Hawaii?" I'm like, "Hawaii? Who the hell told you about Hawaii? That's expensive." She goes, "No, come on. I looked it up. It's awesome. They got palm trees. They got volcanoes. They got people that hula dance and everything like that. And lava. There's lava everywhere." I'm like, "Yeah." In my mind, I'm thinking like, "Yeah, it's probably $30,000 to go to Hawaii." I'm like, "Hawaii, huh? How about if we went to someplace more fun than Hawaii? What's more fun than Hawaii, Daddy? Have you heard of Maine?" Just as tropical. Well, ish. They got water. They got, fine. We'll go to Hawaii. So we went to Maine, and I hung up cardboard signs all over the town, like that we went to. "Welcome to Hawaii," with palm trees. I even wore a lei. I was playing Hawaiian music. Went all out. And he goes, "Daddy, we're not in Hawaii." I'm like, "How do you know? You ever been to Hawaii, huh?" He goes, "No, but I got my iPad and I just Googled it, and nothing around here looks like Hawaii." Like what? Look at the trees, Daddy. Pine, 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 pine. Not one palm tree. I'm like, "Okay, what else?" Like look at the women, Daddy. Not one of them is wearing a bathing suit. They're all in flannel and hiking boots. I'm like, "Well, we're in a cold part of Hawaii." Like, what's up? Oh, what else? He goes, "Daddy, the sign, 'Welcome to Hawaii,' one eye. Please. You're talking to somebody with a 4th grade reading level." I'm like, "That's school system, I swear to." But I was at the grocery store, and I ran into this old woman, and then I got out of my car and I picked her up. And then I went inside and started doing my shopping. And then I hate those self-checkout lines, and somehow, some way, because I try to rush around. I try to grab everything, 12 items, boom, right there. And there she was right in front of me, looking at the sign, looking at the conveyor belt, looking at what she bought, looking back at me. I'm like, can we go just a little bit faster? Just a little bit faster. I have stuff that I need to do. Can we just go a little bit faster? She goes, "Well, the sign says 12 items or less." "Yeah. Well, I got grapes." I think I'll let that slide, Grandma. You guys have been terrific tonight.
All right, Larry Soares, ladies and gentlemen, right there.
Paul, thank you.
Hey, Larry, thank you. That was great. Hey, I got to ask you a question. How much did you end up getting for the house?
Oh, well, we haven't sold it yet, but since I've been telling that joke, we've been getting a lot of offers, and I couldn't be happier.
It's still for sale. That's a good one. That's a good one. So anyway, yeah, great to have you with us. I kind of knew Larry a little bit, and I didn't really know him. I knew you from listening to you on the radio, and then paths crossed a little bit here and there. And then I remember you from Easy 99.1 Fun 107, and then I remember following you in your comedy career. But how did you go from? Well, first of all, how did you end up on the radio? That has its own interesting story, right?
Yeah, at the time, this was 1996, and my mother got me a summer job after graduating high school, which was great because when my sister graduated the 8th grade, she got a cross-country trip and got me a job. So, well, thanks, Mom. But I was working that summer, and I heard a promo, which is a commercial that you hear in the radio, looking for interns. So I heard that as soon as I turned the car on. I'm like, this is a sign. I have to work at Fun 107. And up to that point, didn't think anything about radio. Always like making people laugh. I'd grab my my boombox when I was a kid, and I'd be listening to the radio and pretend I was a DJ. Every person, probably 40 and above, will relate to that. Anybody younger than that would be like, "What's a boombox?" But you can. So went in, and the first person I met was Michael Rock. He was the promotions director at the time, and I had an interview and get into the promotions department, which is who you see when you go to the live broadcasts. They hand out prizes, the prize wheel. If you've been to one of Fun 107's broadcasts, you know that very well. And then got into production, which was getting commercials produced. So the commercials that you hear, we produce those in-house. And then I always had my eye on the morning show. So right around 2001, I kind of had a meeting with JR, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to learn everything there is to know about a morning show. I'm really interested, and I want to do that. I want to be the producer." So I took my production capabilities and my humor, and I just try to add to the show as best as I could. And at that time, it was JR and Sharon, and she actually brought me on the air. Just asked me a question out of the blue, and then it just, the three of us just started talking. And then I left very briefly, but then came back to kind of fill in. But right around that time, Sharon unfortunately passed away in 2009. So JR brought Michael Rock in, and then there was JR, Michael Rock, and Larry. And then we were together for the next, 4 years, and then JR left in 2013. And then I stayed around for a couple more years until 2015. And then so as you can see, there's a lot of movement with a radio station, when you turn it on, but had a blast doing it. I was not a morning person, but boy, did I love making people laugh.
Yeah, that's what I was used to say. Oh, is Larry here? Yeah, Larry's late again. The old shtick,
Yeah, that was just a bit, Paul. I was never.
Yeah. So how did you blossom from like radio to saying, hey, you know what? I want to go out in the clubs and actually start doing open mics and do comedy in front of a live audience, which is different than being on the radio.
Well, I didn't just start doing stand-up. I've been doing stand-up primarily since 2016, but I've been doing it kind of off and on since 2010. And before that, I was actually a improv comedian, which if you watch the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? Did that from 2000 to 2000 to 2010. And then started dabbling in stand-up, and I never got I very nervous to get on stage at that point. Just me, because I like to bounce things off of other people. That's what improv does. But then I finally, after the kids were a little bit older in 2016, I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. So then I started doing open mics over at Mikey B's in the north end of New Bedford. I started networking around, starting to get to know comedians and on the Cape, up in Boston, out in Providence, even Connecticut. So I got a pretty good networking right now of different stand-up comedians that I've done shows with and met and had a lot of great times with, and I love it. And I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. And I miss right now with everything that's going on with COVID. I hope we get back to normalcy, but I don't mind taking the time to kind of ease back into it, because I think we shouldn't rush it, because we've seen dips and, it'll be there. It'll be there when the time's right.
Well, interesting thing that I've learned dabbling in this little amateur joking around thing that we're doing over here is that, the setup, the punchline, the tags, all those little things that you have to do as a comic. I never realized the surgical nature of it. And
oh, yeah.
I'm sure Right,
I was
that you've developed,
surgically
right?
editing. I was surgically editing as I was doing my set for you guys because I said, okay, I can't get too dirty. I can't get too because you'd be thrown in Facebook jail there, buddy.
Let me try something, right? Because this is, some of the funniest stuff is stuff that my wife says to me. And so I use this, and the joke is I looked in I don't know if it was online or the newspaper, and there was an article that said that men's semen is a defense against the coronavirus. So I said to my wife, I said, "Hey, honey, look at this, huh? Men's semen. That's a defense against the coronavirus." So my wife said, "Why don't you go get some then?"
Ooh. Ooh.
Like, bada boom, bada bang, bada bang.
It's interesting that you bring up that article because recently on the Discovery Channel, I saw, because they usually like to do things on animals sometimes, and I forget what the species was, but they said that this particular animal needs to mate every 12 years or else it dies. And my take of that was, well, thankfully we don't live by that lifestyle because I would have been dead 12 years ago.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
The other problem I'm having is I'm having problems with not having like every joke be like a dirty middle school humor joke. You know what I mean?
Honestly, it doesn't really have to be. Those you get last, but also it is almost like a cheap go-to, and you kind of want to.
Exactly.
I find right now, life is probably the funniest things because you can't write that. Like the bit I did about the children's NyQuil, that actually happened. She actually She actually said to my son, "Just do it like a shot."
That's
I'm like, "What did you just say to him? He's 8."
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I put it away. I put it in my notes, and I developed. I mean, obviously the lemon thing, was what I tagged onto it. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing funnier if you're surrounded by people who make you laugh, and if you can make something funny out of anything, really.
Yeah, I know. A few weeks ago, I was telling Chops a story. I was coming out of the mall, remember that, Chops, and there was a car that said "red hot lady," So I'm like, "Ooh, red hot lady," right? So then I got closer to the car, and then it said "red hat lady." The Red Hat Society. So Chops is like, "Yeah, that's more where you belong, Santos. You belong at that car."
It was that moment that Paul realized he needed to hire, prescription.
Need to hire a writer too.
What's good is what's good is she wasn't sitting in the driver's seat and you're like this.
All right, let me try another one. Let me try another one here. I very rarely have a professional here, so I'm trying to learn something.
Oh my God.
The Gillette Stadium, the home of the Patriots, they decided to put up Christmas lights you could drive through.
Right.
So one day I drove up there, but my car broke down at the 20-yard line. Cam Newton was in the passenger seat. All right. We got nothing.
How many more do you have, Paul? Those lift that one up a little bit and just throw it right in the fireplace.
That was a good one.
Future plans now. I know you're talking about, unfortunately, I know, with the pandemic, Chops is in the entertainment business and so forth. It's been really difficult. I know if you had a chance to maybe write some stuff, but I'm sure you're looking forward to getting back out there.
Oh yeah, I've done. You take your jokes that you've had and some of the jokes that I've had for years, even back to when I was doing improv. I was still writing jokes. I'm like, someday I'm gonna get on that stage, and someday I'm gonna do some jokes, and I'm kind of taking more of a storytelling approach now with some newer material. So again, with life, it's funny, and I usually look at something that, how can I put this? So I'm in the midst of a divorce right now. So the wife jokes can change a little bit. So I can say, oh, when we were together, or, the real funny thing was, she was like, what you should do is go on stage and just bash me. Just do jokes about me. And I'm like, okay, you gave me the green light. So you wouldn't believe after that statement how much material I came up with. But but like I said, the real life stuff is what's funny, and that kind of worked with the radio.
That's right.
When I started in radio, I was you know, a 25-year-old living at home with my parents. And then when I left radio, I was married with 2 kids. So people saw me grow up through Fun 107. And it's kind of like the same thing with stand up. Like I can sit there and craft the greatest joke ever, but I'd rather take something from my life and relive it and tell people that and be like, wow, that seems so real. It was.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, Chops and I were talking about the earthquake. You know, I said to Chops, I say, Chops, did you feel the earthquake the other day? And he goes, yeah, I thought it was my ex-wife coming in.
Ooh.
Yeah, hey, take that one on the road. Oh my God! Hey, Larry, we really appreciate you stopping by. It's a lot of fun, and I realize how difficult it is, and how much work it takes to do it. So, all the best to you, and I'll try to get 1 minute of my best stuff. And the next time you have an open mic, I'm going to bring Chops with me, though. Can I bring Chops with me? So the one guy.
5 seconds at a time.
You're gonna have that one drunk in the front row.
Please make sure, Paul, it's an open bar.
All right. Larry Soares, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Larry. All right, Chops, you ready for the pictures of the week? Oh, wait a minute. Is he there? Are you there? Oh, no. Not another delay in the audio. He's speaking, and 10 seconds later, the voice comes out. Was I getting some positive feedback over there or from Larry, or what? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, that's great, man. Oh, yeah, great feedback, man.
All right, he's got some great stuff, and he's honed it and so forth. All right, so pictures of the week. Here we go. Great city of Fall River. That was sent in by William Costa.
Oh, yeah, great.
There you see an area from downtown Fall River. Way off in the distance, you can see the Mount Hope and Jamestown bridges, which look really good. And we also have downtown NB, baby, right there. That was sent in by Eric Medeiros. I got to use some of these as background, you know. I got to use some of this as background, I think. This Chops. All right. Hey, I like that shirt there. Yeah, looking pretty, little spiffy there. Nice and shiny. Looking good, man. Looking good. Hey, by the way, you know, you see
thank you, man.
You see Chops, his voice, even though it's 10 seconds behind, is smooth as silk. He's got the women screaming in the audience and the whole thing. But in football, he is Chops the Terminator, baby. Chops the Terminator. There he is right there. Oh, yeah, there he is.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's the guy right there, man.
You were ranked number 10 in the USA for a team called the Outlaws, right?
Yeah. Outlaws, yes, sir. We were West team, then we were ranked number 10 in the USA. Yes, sir.
What kind of internet we got here? I think I'm getting screwed by Comcast.
Oh, man.
We're getting screwed by Comcast.
Oh, they do it every week. Ain't nothing new.
The last time you heard a delay that long is when you actually went to marry her.
That's right.
I want to tell you, when I was in California, I went on a Hollywood tour, and I got to take this picture in the transporter. I was a big Star Trek fan. See that right there? So I was in the transporter, like you know, Star Trek, you know. So I said, hey, honey, take a picture of me over here.
Wow, that's nice, man.
Yeah, so I went over there and I'm like,
nice legs there, man.
I think one leg was swollen for walking too much. I got varicose veins. Anyway, I want to pretend something over here. So I was like, hey, beam me up, Scotty. So my wife's like, where's the switch? She thought it was the electric chair. Well, that about wraps it up for tonight. I think Larry was trying to be polite, but I think he was trying to say that, got to kind of like polish it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If the comedy fails, I got the singing. Strangers in the night, exchanging glances, lovers at first sight. What other chances? I'm going to put out of business soon. Yeah, not too soon. Anyway, Chops and I are going to do Hall and
You trying to put me out of business, man.
Man.
Oh,
Here she comes. Man. Watch out, boy. She'll chew you up. Oh, here she comes. She's a man eater.
Oh, yeah. She's a man eater.
Oh, does that remind you of anybody?
That'd be a great song. That's a great song.
Check us out on YouTube. We're on YouTube. We got 1,000 hits in the last show. Anyway, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank our guest, Mr. Larry Soares. Yeah, Larry Soares in the house. And a shout out to our producer, Josh Souza, and our other producer, Justin Pereira. And New Bedford guide owner, Michael Sylvia. That's right. All right, Chops, you're going to be back?
Yeah, Josh.
Hey, Chops, you're going to be back next week? Or?
Yeah, Silver.
Hey, next week.
Back next week.
Hey, why don't you surprise us with one of those shiny jackets there?
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, I got a jacket. I got a jacket that's better than the one that you got. My good friend Liberace left there.
I'm gonna get one for you. I took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say Liberace.
We're gonna take
Liberace, man. We're gonna
take that on the road.
All we need is the piano, right?
Who's gonna play the piano?
Oh, we're gonna get Josh to play it.
All right. We're gonna go. We still have a show. Okay. We still have a show. We haven't been canceled yet. Next week, we have a friend of mine, WBSM talk show host, Mr. Marcus Ferro, is going to be here on the show. He's a fellow attorney. By the way, anytime we get in trouble from now on, right? Anytime we get in trouble and things aren't going well, we're going to bring in the cat over here. Like if Chops can't make it one night, I can just tell a joke and put the cat up there like that. There he is. Yeah, what do you think about that last joke? Here's what I think right there. How's that? Right, put that one on for size right there. There you go. You think this job is easy? Huh? You think this job is easy? Huh? All right. So I guess we'll see you next week, right?
Well, let my mother-in-law see that cat.
She let that cat out. She did. I know the whole story.
Yeah, right. I guess so.
Hey, seriously, I know we've said this before. Hopes that 2021 will be a whole lot better. So I'd like to wish you, Chop, your family, and everyone out there a very, very happy 2021. All right. I'm giving him 10 seconds to respond.
Thank you.
Because that's a delay. All right. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you next week. Good night.